Hey, what's up? How you doing, everyone? It's James Amero here at SwitchWatch, your home for everything Nintendo Switch related. I'm back today with another review, and this one is Mulaka. The game's been developed and published by Lienzo, so thank you very much to those guys for giving us this copy for review purposes. As always, we want to find out, is this one worth your hard-earned cash? Let's jump in. In Mulaka, we are introduced to the Taramara people of northern Mexico. To this day, the Taramara are migratory people leading relatively isolated lives in order to protect their traditions and culture. Lienzo, the developer of the game, have done a fantastic job of directly translating the feel and spirit of these fascinating people into game form. And I have found their behind-the-scenes series in the Taramara brilliant to watch on its own merit. Mulaka follows the journey of a Surakurame, a Taramara shaman tasked with seeking out the demigods of the Sierra to seek their aid against an evil which is spreading across the land and threatens to destroy its inhabitants. This story pulls directly from the lore of the Taramara and takes place over a series of regions. Each region is inhabited by one of the demigods and a big bad boss to take on. In this way, it follows a pattern we are very used to, giving us some comfortable footing. The story is told in chunks between these regions and in snippets from conversing with both the demigods and the world's inhabitants. Whilst I found the difference in culture and its feel fascinating, the story is not particularly demanding, and our character's journey felt like optional insight with a bit of a tale thrown in. The music of Mulaka is rhythmic and fitting for an action-adventure game. The use of drums and wind instruments from the Taramara add authenticity and sets the tone well. Whilst I enjoyed this music, which fit perfectly in the background, I did find it was not very varied, and a few more tracks would have been welcome. Cutscenes are voice acted, and though I couldn't understand what was being said, it added an air of mystery and urgency to the storytelling. Right from the off, the opening cutscene was beautiful. These sketch sections in the game are awesome and drew me right into the experience and world of the Taramara, though these scenes are few and far between. Mulaka's main game takes place in a 3D low poly style that is very vibrant and is based very closely on the real region. The colours are wonderful, and you can see tribal influences everywhere, from the paintings and patterns to the people you bump into. The low definition of graphics reminds me of the first attempt at 3D graphics in games back in the SNES days, and whilst I can see the inspiration used from the Taramara art, I personally am not a fan and found myself wishing for some higher levels of detail. What's more, I found movement of your character and others looked off, and there are noticeable areas where characters slightly fall through floors or surfaces. These are not major gripes, but I did notice them. Sadly though, in my playthrough I experienced a few full crashes and some slowdown at times. To give them credit, Lienzo are aware of these issues and have put in fixes to the respective platforms. Sadly, that means for us Switch owners, it's not likely to get fixed until the end of March, though we are assured these issues have been completely rectified. The game kicks off with a small tutorial covering movement and combat, which are simple. You move around the 3D environment and fend off enemies with a light and a heavy attack, as well as the ability to throw your spear at enemies, plus a handy dodge and a jump button. As you progress, you will uncover a few more abilities that use the D-pad, including a heal and a bomb, as well as transformations granted by the spirit gods that let you reach new places along your journey. Interestingly, the Taramara are renowned for their incredible running abilities, and this is reflected in the gameplay as you are able to sprint indefinitely. A nice touch. As you progress through the first region, the pacing is quite slow, a symptom of a large map with few enemies perhaps, but after such a great intro, some awesome music and decent controls, I found the first chunk of time rather flat. The basic premise of progress is to find 3 stones which are found across the region through combat, some small puzzles, or by exploration. You have the ability to see things in the spirit world by using a magic bar which lets you see enemies in a different light, as well as targets acting as your map. Once you gather these 3 stones, you open up an area where you'll be faced with a big nasty boss that wants to take you down, and once you defeat them, you'll be able to face the demigods and gain their blessing. The game follows this pattern across its regions, and after the first one, things started to warm up. Each region looks and feels different, ranging from desert to more lush mountainous zones, with different enemies scattered throughout these lands. Whilst the gameplay doesn't change, the second region, whilst still large, feels like a better layout. Battles never reach true difficulty, but the mantis mobs in this region provide a sterner challenge, and you will need to mix up your light, heavy and spear throwing to take down the different types of mobs. The game uses some basic puzzles to break up combat, but these are not difficult enough, which is a wasted opportunity. There is a small skill tree that improves certain traits or attacks, which is welcome and adds some choice to how you progress. As you get further, you will face some huge bosses that, whilst not very tough, are awesome looking. On the move, I found Mulaka more stable. With a slightly low resolution and a solid frame rate, the game looks great on the smaller screen, and it's an enjoyable way to play this game. Mulaka is, in my opinion, a single playthrough kind of game. There are many different enemies to face, artifacts to find, and the game is not small with large worlds to explore, so you'll find some value for your hard-earned cash at $19.99 in the US and $15.99 in the UK. That said, if you are buying the game before the patch, your experience will be hampered by some performance issues. Mulaka is a wonderful view into the Taramara with a very strong and unique style. From a substance perspective though, I found the gameplay, story and visuals to be okay but not gripping. The game is certainly worth a play, but there are stronger adventure games out there. Performance wise, there are issues, though there is a stable build in the works due at the end of March. You've got to give Lienzo credit for such a different game that really draws on inspiration, and overall for me this one's a respectable 6.5 out of 10. It's great to see developers exploring different cultures. Recently I reviewed Dandara, and that was another great example, albeit of Afro-Brazilian culture. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for checking it out. I want to say a massive thank you to all of our subscribers. Really appreciate it. And if you don't know, check out switchwatch.co.uk for everything Nintendo Switch related. We've got a whole bunch of articles and news, and we're putting more and more content out that I'm sure you will enjoy. Thank you very much. Take care, and I'll see you again soon.